Hi, I'm Jay Troll.
And I'm Kinsey Adams. Welcome to Connected Cultures, a show where we get to meet interesting people and learn about the history and cultures in other countries. This week, we will be looking into Jamaica.
This episode will get the opportunity to hear about local news in the country, as well as traditions, history, and exciting destinations within Jamaica. But first, let's hear from Jalen, who had the chance to interview Ro Merritt.
Hello, I'm Jalen Sturdivant, and today I'm joined by Merritt. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm fine. I never did this before, so I'm kind of a little bit nervous.
How long did you live in Jamaica?
For 17 years.
17 years.
Yeah,
What was that like?
I moved there when I literally just turned 18.
Okay.
My birthday was in November, and then I moved there the next month. Jamaica life is 17 years. It was good, bad, and ugly. Like, it was a lot. It's just a lot. I probably won't go into a lot, but it was just surreal. Because in my country is like, as what Americans call it, a third world country.
Would you say there's any differences between our schooling systems?
Oh yeah, like when I came here, I had to move back in a grade, and then I had to like do all the stuff all over again. I'm sitting here like, I did this already. Why am I doing this again? So it's like in Jamaica, like when I came here, I think I had English, I had college English, math. It was pre-cal, and then I had economics, and it was in Jamaica. I had way more classes than I had here in Jamaica. In Jamaica, we had like 3 classes for just business. It's principal of business, principal of office, and principal of accounts. POB and POA, and POB and POA and POE, something like that. I know it was 3 of them classes. Just, it's kind of different, real different. Yeah. The weather is different too. Real different. The food is also different. Like everything is in a can. I'm not used to stuff in a can at all. So, like I'm used to everything fresh. Like over here, you guys have 5 different apples. In Jamaica, we only have 1.
Only 1.
And we have 5 different mangoes. Well,
okay.
We have like different oranges. We have like this fruit. It's called star apple. When you cut it open, it's like a star in the middle. It's purple on the inside and like jelly, like a little lychee jelly in the middle. And it doesn't fall off the tree. It stays there and rot. So growing up in Jamaica, they have a saying that says, "You mean you're stingy like a star apple?" That means you really mean, because that fruit does not fall off for anybody to catch. Like if you go to an apple tree, you find apples on the floor, you will never find that fruit on the floor. You will find the leaves, but you will never find it. It will stay up there and rot and dry. Even when it rot and dry, it still won't fall off.
Wow, I don't know. Just learned something new.
Trust me. And also I see over here that they take the jackfruit and call it vegan.
Oh yeah.
I also growing up in Jamaica. I grew up like basically on a farm. My grandma. So we had a jackfruit tree in the backyard, and I remember one day we was swinging on it, because the jackfruit tree, it has really long, thick vines. So me and my cousins was being bad, and we was swinging on it. And when I apparently grabbed a weak vine, and I slid out, and it popped, and I went flying. So yeah, but when I come here, I see how they cook it. They put like heat to it and stuff like that. In Jamaica, you just cut the fruit in half and just eat it regular. But over here, they cook it and make it fancy and stuff. I don't know. Also, the housing is different too from here. The houses, we build our houses with cinder blocks and cement, and like we put like either we put concrete on the top, or we put zinc on the top to seal it.
Okay. When you left Jamaica and moved here, what was the biggest difference that you remember experiencing?
The food is really awesome. Like really awesome. The fish is different. Like I come here and everything is in a can. But I've been here for 12 years, so I've got accustomed to the American thing. Yeah. But don't get me wrong, I still have my Jamaican culture in me because I still cook my Jamaican food now.
Mhm.
My boyfriend is very American, so in Jamaica we cook the chicken feet, like the feet of the chicken. And one day I was cooking it, and he was like, "Oh my god, what is that?" One day I made like a whole snapper fish, and like I ate the whole head and stuff. And he was like, "Really? You're gonna eat the whole fish?" Yep, gonna eat the whole fish. Also, some little history too. I think at one time I was on Instagram, and this guy posted this gentleman, but he called him somebody else. But his name was actually Paul Bogle, and that's one of our heroes in Jamaica. We have like 7 of them, and one is she's a little lady, so we call her a heroine. Her name is Nanny of the Maroons. She's the one who like fought off all the Spaniards when they came to Jamaica. Like they hid in the mountains and attacked them because Jamaican people are like rebellious as well. Like they're really rebellious for some odd reason. She's one of them. Paul Bogle and Sam Sam Sharp, them two. They had Paul Bogle was hung in a square that they renamed it Paul Bogle Square now. But like those him, Nanny, like they were the really slavery ones that came to Jamaica. And it was Marcus Garvey. I think you've heard of him before. Marcus Messiah Garvey, he was one of them. Um, Alexander Bustamante, he was one of them. Um, Michael Manley was one of them too. Those are the people that helped make Jamaica what it is. And then later on down, you have Bob Marley, and you have Dennis Brown and Vernon Spear. Put Jamaica out there. Other than the food and the atmosphere, we have some wonderful people that come from there. Usain Bolt is one of them too. And the lady that just broke Flojo's record, Elaine Thompson.
What are some interesting fun facts or just interesting things in general about Jamaica?
We're so good in track and field because we run every year. Like February, we have a track event called the Gibson Relays, where it's all relays, and every school in Jamaica participate. And then in March, we have a thing called Champs. It's every high school in Jamaica participate. Every high school, you have to
Oh,
participate.
wow.
So we run every year and all year. So we kind of dominate track and field. Yeah. So that's another point or two. That's why Usain Bolt is so great. I met him when he was 17.
Really?
Well, because I used to do track and field until I came to Jamaica, until I came to America. I got lazy.
That's super cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, I used to do track and field. I was 4x1, 400, 2 and 1.
Okay.
But then I
I
came
see
here.
you.
Got a little lazy. If you ever visit Jamaica, you should try there. The Blue Hole, it's a nice attraction. It's like the water is really blue. You can't actually see, but it's also surrounded by rocks, and you can dive in, and it's just a really good feeling.
Speaking of like all the cool attractions that Jamaica has to offer, what would you say makes Jamaica unique?
The water,
The water.
the atmosphere, the food. There's so much stuff that makes us unique. Because our food is different from a lot of people around the world. A lot of people. A lot. The atmosphere, our attractions is so different from everywhere else. Our language, our culture is different from everybody else. Because the Caribbean got a lot of countries. They got St. Lucia, Trinidad, Barbados, Bahamas, Aruba, Guadeloupe, Montserrat. They got a lot of those. And when the people, like when I was living in New York, as soon as I meet somebody or somebody else that's not Jamaican, everybody always feel like, oh, you're Jamaican, even when they're from St. Lucia. They automatically feel the Caribbean is only Jamaican people. Like they only think it's Jamaican people, but it's really not. You have Trinidad people, St. Lucian people, like St. Vincent and Grenadines. Like you have other countries too, and not only just Jamaica. But yet again, you ask why my country is unique, right? There you go. See Spanish people speaking rap patois because it was born there.
Mhm.
There you
Thank
go.
you for sharing all of these wonderful things about Jamaica and for giving us all a chance to learn a bit more about your country, your experiences, and your culture as well. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, but very welcome. So, yeah, I should try to visit there in the summertime, though. It'd be better in the summertime.
It was really nice to learn about the history of the countries and all the differences between here and there.
Yeah, I really wish I could get the chance to try all of those different fruit variations. Like, they just look so good.
They were beautiful. Oh my gosh, so juicy.
Now, let's head over to Connor O'Doherty as he tells us about Jamaica's traditions and interesting spots.
So Jamaica's got a great reputation for its acclaimed tourism industry, and while that's fun and all, there's a lot more to the island nation than just beaches and Bob Marley. Located in the Caribbean Sea, Jamaica is the third largest island behind Cuba and Hispaniola. Jamaica sits nestled almost exactly between the two islands, about 100 miles from either one. It's still only about 4,300 square miles, so for some perspective, North Carolina's mountain region is about 11,000. 2.7 million people call the island nation home, mainly in the cities of Spanish Town, Montego Bay, Portmore, and the capital Kingston. Kingston might sound out of place for a Caribbean country, but it actually still regards Queen Elizabeth as the head of state. It's part of the Commonwealth of Nations, a kind of loose connection of a bunch of nations that used to be colonies of England, like India, Canada, and Nigeria. The citizens, however, see themselves and their neighbors as Jamaican above all other identifiers. Jamaica's cultural makeup is incredibly diverse, with peoples from around the world and everyone's background adding more to the overall society. Many citizens are descendants from enslaved Africans forced to farm sugarcane and other crops, or the native Taino people who survived the European conquest by hiding in the Blue Mountains. Smaller populations from Asia and Europe were also brought to the island. Because so many different cultures were brought to the island, unfortunately against their will, they formed their own collective identity together. And a great manifestation of this is Jamaican patois, which is based in English. It has some Western African languages and also the native Taino. All of the techniques, recipes, plants, and animals brought over by Spanish, African, Irish, Chinese, Middle Eastern, Southeast Asian peoples resulted in new cooking styles that are distinctly Jamaican. One of the most popular dishes here in the United States is Jamaican jerk. Originally from Taino culture, jerk is notable for its smoky and spicy flavor. Pork and chicken are dry rubbed in native island plants like allspice and Scotch bonnet peppers, usually smoked in a large oiled drum. Now that you got some context, I'll give you some notable areas that you should definitely add to your travel list. Jamaica is a relatively easy trip for Americans as cruises run to the island every day. They'll take you to Montego Bay, the island's tourism center. Most resorts are located on this northwest corner. The 7 Mile Beach is down the coast in the city of Negril and features quite obviously miles of uninterrupted, world-renowned beaches. The Blue Lagoon is on the other side of Jamaica, featuring a deep cove with remarkably blue water. It's in a more rural area near Port Antonio. The Blue Mountains, not to be confused with our own Blue Ridge, dominate Jamaica with peaks reaching over 7,000 feet. They offer stunning views of the cities, they offer hiking, waterfalls, and wildlife. Located on top of one of those mountains is Strawberry Hill, a beautiful neighborhood overlooking Kingston and its harbor. Another region of the Blue Mountains is the Cockpit Country. An example of karst topography, Cockpit Country features a blanket of deep sinkholes next to large summits, creating a rough but rolling appearance. Now, Jamaica's terrain offers some unforgettable vacations, but the country is made up of an even more unforgettable people.
Thanks, Connor. It's fascinating to see how diverse Jamaica really is. It's a bunch of different countries and cultures coming together to make one. It's more than just a tourist destination. Now let's take a look at how the country is handling COVID-19.
Thanks. Jamaica is not only known for being a beautiful country, but also known for being a popular Caribbean vacation destination for travelers around the world. Because of this, the CDC has recently raised their travel alerts for Jamaica. Due to the amount of COVID cases and other factors, this is what forced the CDC to raise the travel alert for Jamaica to a level 4, which indicates high levels of COVID, which means travelers should avoid traveling to the country. There are 4 different travel levels of COVID, and I'll explain them. The first level indicates that you should be fully vaccinated and that COVID rates are low for the country. Level 2 indicates that you should not only be fully vaccinated, but also that non-essential travel is recommended to unvaccinated travelers who are at increased risk for severe illness from COVID-19. Level 3 indicates the same for non-essential travel to certain destinations and to make sure that you are fully vaccinated before traveling to these destinations. Lastly, Level 4 indicates not only very high rates of COVID-19 in certain destinations, but to avoid those destinations. However, if you must travel, then make sure you are fully vaccinated before travel. In addition, the CDC has raised other vacation destinations such as the UK, France, the Bahamas, and Puerto Rico alongside Jamaica. Travel alert levels are raised depending on the assessment of COVID-19 cases by the CDC, which is not only based on the number of cases, but whatever the determined outlook is for new cases. This can also be raised depending on how many COVID-19 cases are reported over a 14-day period. Level 4 destinations tend to have over 500 new cases per 100,000 people over the past 28 days, or even if cases exceed 500 and the population is below 100,000 people. Although U.S. travelers have been advised by the CDC not to travel to the country due to the spread and transmissions of COVID-19, they are still allowed to visit, although they must stay in either a resilient corridor, which are spaces that are governed with a strict set of protocols for a tourism sector in the country, or at a JTB licensed accommodation that the country's tourist board has to certify as compliant with the COVID-19 protocol. There have been over 600,000 doses of the COVID vaccine so far that have been administered in Jamaica. If every person needs 2 doses, then this number covers about 10.3% of the population that can be vaccinated. 7,591 doses were administered each day according to reports on Jamaica from last week. If this rate continues, then it will take 78 more days to administer enough doses for at least another 10% of Jamaica's population. It is apparent that more doses are needed in order to administer to the rest of the country's population, as there have been over 74,000 cases and over 1,600 deaths due to COVID-19. Recently, it has been reported that the Mu variant of COVID-19 is now in Jamaica by Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. Out of 90 samples tested, 26 were positive for the variant, according to the minister. The rest of the 90 samples were sent to the Atlanta-based Centers for Disease Control on August 21st for testing, and the results from this have shown that 55 of the samples were positive for the Delta variant. These results showcase that Jamaica not only has 1, but 2 of the virulent strains of COVID present in the country in the last 2 months. Very recently, the Health Ministry revealed that there were an additional 511 death-related COVID-19 cases that occurred, which raises the tally to approximately 1,685. The country's positivity rate now stands at 32.5%. Luckily, there have been 96 more recoveries from COVID-19 cases. Also recently, the Ministry of Health and Wellness announced that they'll be suspending the administering of the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine on Friday, September 10th. Dr. Christopher Tufton, the Minister of Health and Wellness, said that this is to ensure that there are enough of the vaccines to guarantee second doses. Several weeks ago, Jamaica received some of 204,000 doses, which were initially set aside for 12-year-olds and adolescents, with the outlook to be having 65% of this group vaccinated in order to resume face-to-face classes. However, due to the low intake by those that the vaccines were intended for, it was opened up to the general population. Over the coming weeks, Jamaica expects to receive more than 600,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine.
Thank you, Jalen. It's interesting to hear how Jamaica is handling COVID-19, especially after going to a level 4 travel notice.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how other countries are handling it. But, I'm really fascinated to see how things will change within that country once all of the new vaccine doses arrive.
Hopefully it'll open up the country back to more tourism.
That's the hope, yeah. Well, that does it for us. Thank you for watching.
And join us October 8th at 10 a.m. for our next episode as we discuss Norway. See you next time.